Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this session on corporate influence on the Indian state's policies and actions in Adivasi regions. My name is Lotika Singha, and I speak on behalf of International Solidarity for Academic Freedom in India. We are honored to have with us today Amit Julka, academic and researcher in international relations and foreign policy, Nitin Sethi, editor with the Reporters Collective, and Nihalsing Rathod, a lawyer. The title of this webinar series, Deadline or Death Sentence, State Violence and Indigenous Adivasi People's Resistance in India, refers to the Indian government's stated goal of making the country Maoist-free by March 2026. Behind that administrative phrase lies a project of militarization and internal colonization as a form of developmental governance in the areas that are home to India's Adivasi peoples. What this means is that the Indian state is claiming to secure development in these areas in the form of a consolidated permanent counterinsurgency grid that redefines these Adivasi territories as a zone of exception, to be administered not through civilian institutions but through force. At the same time, and in the same areas, an extractive industry of gargantuan proportions is also being pushed through at lightning speed. Now, all successive Indian hosts have also close ties to corporates. But what control do Indian and multinational corporations have on state policies in India? How much control do they have on government policies on the ground, including militarization policies in Adivasi regions? Before I hand over to our speakers, I will just lay out some snippets of information and news, and we'll try to connect them throughout the webinar. Now, to start with, the Bombay Plan of 1944-45 proposed that the Indian state will fund the development of private capital in India by a generous infusion of public funds. Then, since the 1990s, the liberalization, privatization, globalization policies have seen the wholesale transfer of public assets and natural resources to corporations. And now in the 2020s, the farm laws and recently introduced labor codes clearly indicate that corporates have had a large influence on all the state policies that benefit them. Moving to the Adivasi regions, between February 2024 and August 2025, opposition MLAs in Chhattisgarh, MPs in the parliament in Delhi, as well as an ex-MP, raised questions about the felling of thousands of trees across 1,700 acres of the eco-sensitive Hasdeo Arand forest. This area of North Chhattisgarh was previously declared off bounds. Now concerns were also being raised around the clearance provided by the state for coal mining here. The mining project under the microscope here is by the Adani Group, whose website states the company pioneered the mines development operator concept for India. The website claims that this concept is India's answer to end-to-end mining solutions. Chhattisgarh's MLAs were suspended for asking questions about the felling of trees. Turning now to Bastar in South Chhattisgarh in May 2025, the media triumphantly declared the killing of the General Secretary of the Communist Party of India, Maoist Raju, along with 26 other Naxalites, in a military offensive dubbed the Operation Black Forest in Bastar's equally eco-sensitive Abujmar forest. The Indian Express carried the news of this killing spree side by side with another declaring that the government had sanctioned felling of 123,000 trees in Gadchiroli district, Maharashtra, for Lloyd Metals and Energy's iron ore plant. When in October 2025, M. Venugopal Rao, also of CPI Maoist Politburo, surrendered with around 60 other Naxalites at a grand ceremony in Gadchiroli in front of Devendra Fadnavis, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, B. Prabhakaran, the Managing Director of Lloyd Metals and Energy, was also present alongside. News reports state that Prabhakaran made Venugopal Rao an offer of a brand ambassador role and employment to the other surrendering Naxalites. Gadchiroli is also where some of the earliest militarized police camps were built to secure the mining sites in Adivasi regions. But the heaviest concentration today is seen in the Bastar division, where in several areas there's a militarized police camp every 2 to 3 kilometers. It's through these camps that the state is administering its flagship welfare program called Niyad Nilnar, distributing public rations to public health services, etc. At the same time, since January 2024, over 560 people, mostly Adivasis, many young men and women, have also been killed in Adivasi regions. As per March 2025, the cost of all these hundreds of police camps and fortified police stations and helipads is running into tens of billions of rupees, allocated through a variety of security related schemes. And also, as per March 2025, news reports stated in March 2025 that ArcelorMittal SA Luxembourg became the first multinational corporation to enter Bastar. It won a corporate license to explore and mine two massive forest blocks in the Bailadila Reserved Forest, part of the Indravati River catchment, a vital watershed for the region and sacred for the Adivasi communities who were neither notified nor consulted. Even though these communities have opposed mine expansions and fraudulent consent processes for years. To fully grasp the significance and meaning of the simultaneous state militarization and violence and the corporate loot of Adivasi regions, we need to confront questions such as: is it India's people or government or capital that is defining national or state interest? Do corporates play a central role in deciding, initiating, and executing India's state policies in the Adivasi regions? I will now request Amit Julka to speak from a historical perspective to help us build a broader understanding of the role of corporate houses, public and private, in India's policy spaces.
Hello. Hi. Thank you, Latika. Before I begin, I just want to say that I think perhaps out of all the speakers present here, I'm the most ill-qualified to speak on these issues, but I'll try my best to give you a basic historical overview of what I think the relationship between the state and capital looks like. So, um, when Latika was giving sort of the broad overview of the situation, I was reminded of a novel. It's a Hindi novel called Jungle Ke Phool by Rajendra Avasthi, and it's basically, I think, a fictionalized account of Birsa Munda's struggle. And there's of course, there's the other British who are the main antagonists, but then there is also sort of a sub-antagonist, which is sort of the urban money lender. So he's called the Bania. But it's a for me, that is sort of very instructive on how we sort of understand how these areas that are otherwise known as peripheries are sort of central to our understanding how, capital, state, all of these things intersect, right? So I'm going to use two theoretical frameworks to explain all of this. So one is Immanuel Wallerstein's idea of a core and a periphery. So Wallerstein says that cores are basically geographies or spaces which specialize in high value manufacturing, and therefore they sort of extract a lot of surplus through their production. And these cores are dependent on peripheries which supply raw material, which are sort of the low value end of the whole chain, right? And in between these two lie semi peripheries. So one is this, and the second is Gramsci's idea of what the state is. But I'll talk about that in just a bit. So to understand um, all of this from a historical perspective, we have to also consider what was India's position pre-47 within the colonial empire, because uh, it's often said, it's like a throwaway comment, that India was a crown jewel of the British Empire. But what does that mean in sort of historical material terms? It means that within the larger setup of the British Raj, within the larger setup of the empire, India was sort of a sub-empire of its own, right? And through the Indian Empire, um, a lot of sort of colonial peripheries were being controlled, right? So India had this sort of a semi-peripheral position somewhere between the core and the periphery. So even if you guys have read Gugi von Thiong'o, he often talks about the role of the Indian money lenders in East Africa, right? And how they were resented because of that role. And so, yeah, so there was always this sense of that India's sort of a middle position. And so, how it was simultaneously a colony, which was exploited by the British, but also it occupied a unique position within the empire, right? But that also meant that pre 47, the role of Indian capital was very interesting because it had sort of the British Empire's, colonial possessions to sort of expand itself, but it also found itself against the wall of sort of the imperial metropole that is British. So, as early as 1942, the FICCI chairman G.L. Mehta commented that India's interests have been subordinated to those of Britain, which also meant that at that time, the sort of the instinct of Indian capital was protectionist in the domestic sense, right? Because these days we sort of equate capital with sort of a neoliberal tendency, but capitalism goes through certain phases, and so at that time, the sort of the peculiar hierarchy within which India found itself meant that Indian capital also behaved very differently to how we imagine it now, right? And it also had an influence then. I mean, if you think about it, in 1948, when Gandhi is assassinated, where is he assassinated? He's assassinated in the Birla House, right? And that tells you something about sort of the links between political parties and domestic capital, even as early as 1940s or even the pre-independence period, right? So at this time, because India was sort of in sort of an industrial periphery, although still better compared to some of the other colonies in Africa and Southeast Asia. Um, there was a sort of, let's just say, a dovetailing of interests of the state and the capital, where capital was very happy to subordinate itself to the state, right? Because in fact, it needed the state to first of all protect itself from international sort of the core, right? Because it was not industrially very developed, so it needed sort of those captive markets also, the captive domestic market. Um, so at that time, while we now paint the story of pre-1991 India, especially a lot of the neoliberal press, as one where, the state is sort of a hindrance to capital, and it's often even dubbed as the pre-1991 period is called socialist. But I think that is a very wrong characterization because, in fact, it is a protectionist period, but the protectionism is applied to sort of the local or domestic capital. It is not applied to, let's say, the masses, or it's not about welfareism in that same way. Um, and then you have sort of a at the same time, you also have an underdeveloped financial sector, right? And I'll come back to why this is important later. But this meant that the state could still claim, some kind of those commanding heights within as far as its relationship with capital was concerned. Um, Now, did this mean that this was entirely, I don't know, salutary sort of positive state of affairs? No. Similar forms of exploitation, which have been accentuated now, still existed. Even what we think about like right now, license Raj. License Raj was also a way of maintaining the monopoly of big capital within the domestic context, right? Um, Now, what happens post 1991 is that because there's now a huge structural shift in the international economic system, um, the Indian state is sort of both forced and it's also partially sort of using that the breakup of the Soviet Union and the balance of payment crisis to sort of engineer this sort of a neoliberal direction for itself, right? But the peculiar thing is at that time you have the Bombay Club opposing these changes, right? And that tells you something that the mythology of the state and capital's relationship in India, the way it is painted that after 1991 it was welcomed, that is also sort of an incorrect historicization, right? Most business groups that you see now, whether it's Reliance, whether it's the Bajaj, etc., all of them were opposed to the reforms of 1991 because they would then have to face the sort of the headwinds of international capital. Um, and so it is within this context now, as when India opens itself up to international capital, um, that you see the relationship between the state and capital change. Um, so now, prior to 1991, it's not that the influence of capital was entirely missing from the state, right? In fact, a lot of the international economic policies that India sort of carried out, negotiations at the Kennedy round in 1960s, were they were all sort of done in consultation with the big business houses. But post 1991, you see that really sort of change because what happens is gradually, and maybe by the 2000s, even if not by the 1990s, you have capital firmly in the driver's seat as far as this relationship is concerned. Um, so initially after 1991, you see this change within the Indian state because it's the unipolar moment is there in world politics. So there is this assumption, the whole Fukuyama end of history thing that um, market economics and liberal democracies is the only way to go, right? And so you have this alignment with the United States, with international capital within India, which is sort of also pushed by the state. But at this point of time, in the early years after 1991, still in domestic capital in India is still not that big enough. So you have the state initially still sort of pushing the sort of the PSUs to sort of acquire foreign resources. So you have ONGC acquiring oil blocks in Sakhalin and all these places. But it is really in the 2000s that domestic capital matures itself and then has sort of a veto power over foreign policy. So if we now remember that during UPA 2, there was Operation Green Hunt in Chhattisgarh, in parts of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. Well, Telangana was not created then, but those regions. And I think it was Manmohan Singh who said that left wing, and I'm quoting him or paraphrasing him over here, that left wing terrorism is sort of the foremost threat to the Indian state. So you have a government which has sort of a very neoliberal orientation, which is somewhat constrained in UPA 1 because of the presence of allies like the Communist Party. But you still the overall push is still towards that direction, right? But towards 2011 to 12, you notice that even with all these sort of uh, neoliberal policies, right? So, for example, Mani Shankar Iyer is removed from the Petroleum Ministry and replaced by Moily because apparently a particular business group was not in favor of Iyer's policies, especially I think regarding the Krishna Godavari Basin and the gas reserves over there. And despite this sort of orientation and despite the relatively friendly relations between state and capital, you see capital, uh, by and large being dissatisfied with the Manmohan Singh government, right? So by 2011, 2012, you have this phrase being put in policy paralysis, right? All your economic dailies are full of sort of this phrase, policy paralysis, policy paralysis. India is all these international sort of consulting agencies downgrade India's rating and all of that, right? And you see this sort of a panic, right? And this also sort of spreads down into mass discourse, right? What that means is that in a way, at that time, that even the sort of the limited welfarist push of UPA 2 was being questioned by capital, that this is too much, right? Even these bare minimum concessions that you're giving are too much. And so by 2011, 2012, capital sort of switches from sort of UPA, from Manmohan Singh to the BJP, right? And it is then, and then you have the rise of Narendra Modi as this sort of political figure who'll solve all of India's problems, yada, yada, yada. We all know how that happened. And then you have the onset of sort of the Modi era, right? And if you look at sort of the policies, what was sort of hidden or tacit before 2014 sort of becomes more explicit, right? And it also means that now the position of capital is more unambiguous, right? So you have, for example, Gautam Adani accompanying Modi on foreign trips abroad. When he meets the Australian Prime Minister, Adani is the only other person present in the room. When Sri Lanka is going through an economic crisis, there is alleged pressure from New Delhi, as stated by a Sri Lankan politician, that that apparently they were compelled to sort of let Adani in. So there were all of these sort of stories that were floating around, right? And if you even notice something that happened very recently, there was a free trade agreement which was signed by the UK, in which India basically compromised its digital sovereignty, right? Even things like source code disclosure, all of these clauses were sort of given up. And that also means another thing that is happening right now, which is, I mean, it is very much sort of popular in sort of in current discourse, the whole Adani Ambani and all of these sort of associations. But if you look at sort of what happens in these free trade agreements, or what is happening right now in negotiations with the US as far as the tariffs are concerned, is that you have this state sort of also buckling before international capital and forces that are sort of more systemic, right, which go beyond the domestic, right? Um, and now, how does all of this link to sort of coming back to, the question of the day as far as the rights of indigenous communities are concerned? So it's not only that the domestic capital of India is um, exploiting local indigenous communities. If you look at what the protests against the Adani Group in Australia, you have sort of almost this internationalization of this problem, right? And so there is sort of a linkage between what's happening in those coal mines that have opened up in Australia, and what is happening locally in Maharashtra, as Lotika pointed out, in other areas, So this also means that what we think of, as a sort of a problem of domestic capital, it's also has to be linked up with sort of the relationship between capital internationally on a systemic level and indigenous communities worldwide. It's not only about South Asia or India in general. And now, I forgot to sort of talk about him, but this is where Gramsci comes in, right? So we sort of started this whole thing with, okay, what is the relationship between how our state's policies influenced by corporates or capitalist class? Uh, Now, one thing is to imagine them as two separate entities, which is historically true at different points of time, that these are two separate entities. But Gramsci had this statement, right, that the historical unity of the ruling classes is realized in the state, which then means that should we now theorize the state differently? Is capital now inherently the state, and like sort of the political functioning of the state is sort of this protective ring around the core, which is the interests of capital or big capital, uh, generally speaking, right? Because what has happened is earlier the there was a sort of a collusion, but collusion implies two separate entities, right? And while I don't have sort of the empirical data to speak about this, we must consider the point of not collusion, but sort of a conflation, right? Where the state is sort of nothing but sort of a front for these forces that are beyond us. And this is not only an India specific thing, this is sort of a worldwide phenomenon. If you look at what's happening in the United States right now, what's happening in the UK, Australia, it's sort of a similar story repeating itself. So, I don't know how much, Lotika, I don't know how long I have gone on for, but is that sufficient?
Yeah, yeah, thank you so much. I think made on a broad level certainly, but made some very interesting points which will really help us in putting things when we are thinking of the local context, like you said. So, but yeah, I mean, if you want to say maybe anything to end, then yeah, we could end now.
Yeah, I think, and then we'll take some things up in the
Yeah.
question round if they come up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Amit. And yes, our next speaker will be Nitin. So I'd like to hand over to him now. The Reporters Collective has investigated the Adani Group's presence behind all the policy-making coal reforms and Forest for Profit series. Over to you, Nitin. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Am I audible, Latika?
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
A little louder if you could, but otherwise I can hear you. Yes.
Sure. Um, Hi, good evening, everyone, if you're in India. Um, I don't know if this is the right appetizer before dinner, but that's how Latika's organized it. So thank you for your patience and for being here. Uh, I think I'm going to pick up some strands for what Amit was saying and bring from the 1990s onwards to where we are today. Um, I remember in 2014 when the current government came in for the first time, there was by now it has a reputation of suppressing information, data, reports, etc., that tell us the truth about both the society and the workings of the government. One of the first reports that this government suppressed and which is yet to be released officially was a report on the status of tribal societies in India, which had been commissioned in the UPA government but was finished by the time this government came in. It was by Professor Khaka and a group of other academics, researchers, bureaucrats. That report laid out what you and I might consider quite easy for us to assess and know that the status of the tribal communities in India was one of the most impoverished, poor, most displaced groups that the Indian democracy had seen since independence. Um, One would imagine that report would not embarrass any government, particularly not the BJP government, considering it was uh, looking at the period between 1990s till 2014 or what had happened to the tribal societies. But um, that report was never made public. Alongside what was not made public was a long list of what the government believed were reforms to be committed and adhered to in the coming year or so. This was a list of 60 specific asks to amend different forest environment laws, regulations to create an ease of business, which, as Amit was referring, the previous government had also tried in various ways. but the NDA government believed it had not achieved and it had reached a certain point. One of my friends and colleagues, Mayank, brought this list out. And when we looked at the same list in somewhere, I think 23, the government of India had achieved almost 90% of what it set out to do. Now, that is not to say that the previous environment forest laws were any good in protecting either the rights of the people or the forests, but they were, in some sense, a minor protection that was available, at least on paper, for some communities and the ecology. From amending the Forest Rights Act to the Forest Conservation Act repeatedly to about, I think, if I'm not mistaken, around 400 amendments that were brought to different regulations at that time. It altered the way the government could acquire lands, resources of people. But more than that, there were a couple of other parallel systems that were created or enhanced, which led to what I would think is more easy exploitation of resources, the prime resources that Amit was referring to, largely in the tribal Adivasi areas. One, if you remember when the BJP government was coming into power at that point, there was a large hue and cry over what was considered a coal scam, where coal blocks across the country had been given over to private entities through the back door or directly without what the court said extracting true value of what those coal blocks was. It wasn't about the rights of the people to begin with, but had the state extracted enough value from them or not, and that this has been done surreptitiously without regulations in place to hand these over. Um, the BJP and the NDA government came into power claiming it would therefore reform the process because it had got a clean slate. What happened, and the Reporters Collective has reported on it sequentially, I think, from 2017 onwards till date, was that whatever was held illegal at that time by the Supreme Court was legislated past the Supreme Court orders by the current government, including a level of discretion that existed earlier in the UP as well. The only difference was this time a law had allowed the government to hold discretion as compared to the previous time when the law was silent on these things. And subsequently, something Latika was referring to, uh, the Adani Group, one of the foremost players in the coal sector today, became slowly and steadily the player that was attracting most of the different coal blocks that were available for privatization by one or the other route, which was including direct acquisitions and operating through the route of what was considered, what was called MDOs or mining development operators. It The difference perhaps in this point was that it had become more brazen, that the government at this point has chosen, unlike the previous, clear champions for certain sectors. And this language of saying we will pick on corporate actors who we believe will champion the development of a certain sector, and then you'll see subsequent slowdown. But these champions will, in some sense, mobilize resources, capacities at scales to unleash what the previous Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had called the animal spirits of Indian economy, was put into place. This consolidation that some of us today think of as monopolization was, in the language that continued from the UPA into the BJP, was considered as selection of champions that would lead. It's a model that at least they imagined was being followed by the Southeast Asian tiger economies, at one point being picked up by the Chinese government itself. And that consolidation has led to a certain situation in Indian economy today. In parallel, and I'll come back to why I specifically think of the tribal Adivasi areas as different from the others, and Amit refers to it. Since 1991, and particularly along the tracks that Amit talks of post 2000s, you saw something quite fundamental shift in how the Indian political economy moved. The infusion of financing into the electoral politics of India became a rapidly changing landscape where the resources being plowed into electoral politics on a daily basis grew disproportionate to even the size of the growth of GDP in India. Um, while we at the Reporters Collective had investigated and reported, and eventually the Supreme Court cancelled the electoral bond. It became like a metaphor for the nature of a relationship between the political entities and the corporate entities. The fact is, electoral bond was somewhere around 24,000 crores, if I remember correctly, was still a very minuscule amount compared to what gets invested into electoral candidates and electoral parties. A reference point I would suggest is a recent study, strangely coming out of the ORF, on the cost of politics in India. It's less talked about, but it's quite stupendous work done to suggest what is the size of resources being plowed in. Now, to me, as somebody who comes from a background in economics and financing, I would presume all of you would think that if a businessman is going to invest in either a political party or a candidate, the only interest that person has is to generate profits from that investment. And considering backing a candidate in either a assembly election or a parliamentary election is fairly a risky business, because there is good chance that your candidate might not win, except for a few very safe seats. The return on investment I would seek, like a good businessman on a high risk game, would be very high. So if I'm going to invest 5 crores at the beginning of somebody's candidature, I would like to retrieve 25 crores by the end of it, if not more. And in terms of economic jargon, that comes to be known as regulatory capture, crony capitalism, etc. And you can find enough theories spoken of. But the practice of it in India, by the time the BJP government passed the electoral bonds, to my mind, was legitimizing and legalizing large segment of what was already happening. It was, in some sense, the crossing of the Rubicon, where we were saying, now we can let this be legal if it is also continues to be immoral, and over time, in people's mind, the immorality around it will also be eroded. It would come close to somewhat how the political economy of electoral politics works in the US, where as long as you register and say who you've given money to, you can well get lobbied from one end or the other. In India's case, it was actually going to be a secretive channel where you would not know which corporate group or individual had passed on money to which political party. It included a small channel for non-Indian entities to also fund political parties in India, which had been banned earlier, but both BJP and Congress had been caught doing it earlier, and they'd amended the law to make sure it's justified retrospectively. Now, once you have everyone down from the MLA up to the office of the Prime Minister indebted to the corporate groups for the sheer political existence, it would be quite naive, and I would go ahead to say stupid of us to believe that there is not a deep political capture of how policy making in India happens by the corporate groups. Um, your worst bet or your best bet is perhaps that uh, corporates are in a true market space where there are enough players buying out and vying for that space in the political decision. But in areas where you have duopolies or monopolies, it could get far worse. And I think that's the area in which we're reaching today. You see it in, I think, more often in the last few days, because in India, you've heard this crisis of the airplanes not flying off in a duopoly. But this is quite practically what you've seen across segments repeatedly over the last 15 years. And I'm not saying this is new. It's not as if it began in 2014, but you've seen a certain brazenness and a certain centrality of decision making, which allows it to happen with a different force without any disputes arising within the system over how far do we go with it. Ironically, I would like to think the disconsonance and dissonance in the UP era permitted some of it to be mediated out, where you would see conflicting legislations and policies come out, where UPA developed a sense of what it called a rights-based mechanism, but the rights were over doles. They were not over resources. What the BJP did thereafter was to turn those rights back into being called gifts from the Lord to the Praja in some sense. But the general temperament remains the same. Two tendencies that we saw, and again, electoral bonds investigations for us were quite insightful in that. That in the previous UPA era, you had regional satraps and a decentralized corruption that allowed certain contestation even amongst capital to say who do we go to, where do we negotiate, how far do we get with the resources we have. In the UPA era, I think electoral bonds was a signifier that the political party in power wanted a single window, a single treasurer who would collect on behalf of the party, which meant other regional players within the party and the democracy within the party, even if you were to call it a democratized corruption, was diminishing. And which is something capital always like. And Amit was referring to it of how policy paralysis became a big concern in the previous second tenure of UPA. To my mind, that policy paralysis perhaps was the existence of a very disaggregated level of corruption, a very decentralized level of corruption with regional satraps existing. And in the BJP era, you've seen a certain centralization of decision making where policy making happens at very high levels from the PMO downwards. And the union cabinet itself is very rarely an effective force of policy making. Therefore, if rent seeking is going to happen, a large chances the rent seeking happens at the highest levels. And the rent seeking in a legal form would come in the form of donations to political parties. Um, there are other legal forms in which this happens, which is subcontracting, creating of sub licenses, distribution of jobs, and many of those systems exist. It is nearly impossible to put a figure to how much that economy is. But to give you a range, and this is a mapped range, you would see candidates in Telangana when they stand for parliamentary elections spending up to 200 crores at times, legally still living within the limit of what is 90 lakhs that they can spend. In states like Arunachal and Nagaland, the per capita expenditure by political candidates can be 10x, 20x, and 30x of that spent in any other part of the country. It's disproportionate. Now, if that is the level of investment, different kinds of capital, whether domestic, international, and you'll see a trend in India where international capital is allowed in India now only when it comes mixed and backed by domestic capital. The license is only permitted in many sectors when it's in a joint venture with the domestic capital. So, in some sense, there is continues to be a certain kind of license raj of who is permitted to do, and a protection for domestic capital is available there. The consequences of this are quite naturally going to spread to your primary resources, which is collection of forests, the minerals under the forest, and the lands which are available. Now, again, there's immense work done to show that for good reasons, if you were to overlay the maps of where tribal India is, where India's forests are, and where Indian minor resources are, they'll quite more or less sit right on top of each other. And the consequences of that, mingled with the way our caste system works, that the lives of the Adivasis are the most easily discarded over for the need of those resources. But I think for those of us who want to study this, and I think there's enough being done to understand how those resources are going at the primary level on the field itself, is to understand the linkages with how policies on the productive end are working to send back signals to the ground of what can be extracted at whatever rates. So if you see the contracts being done on how coal production and thermal power plants will be run, what are the tender prices for that? Those will help you understand where the pressures on the land would come from people. Because this conversation is in context of the NDA and the BJP's government to claim to end left-wing extremism in certain pocket. Here is something I'll throw out to you, and I think it's a question I contest with. Is did the last 15, 20 years of the left-wing movement, armed movement in these regions, prevent any of this political economic decay in the area? Did it prevent any of the exploitation in the area? And I wouldn't say it's a research based answer, but my experience from last 15, 20 years of investigating in the regions for the nature of our political economies, that the existence of the left wing extremism, armed extremism, did not prevent the exploitation either. There is, I think, a question to be considered of can the lack of democracy and accountability be subdued, improved by existence of armed violence in any place. And that I personally, because I come from two geographies which have seen immense armed violence by citizens, by armed groups, and by groups seeking even sovereignty from India, from Manipur in the northeast. I think it is worthwhile considering the lives of the ordinary caught in this from the lives of the powerful that try to take us away into larger questions. This Indian state's obsession with what the left does and what is the fear of the armed left. If you look back, and again, there's a brilliant book that recently came out by a young researcher, Avinash Paliwal. It tells you that this relationship that the Indian state had, even in the earlier parts of independence, with what it thought was armed communist movements in India's east, you will find the relationships are no different than what they are today. Their expressions by NDA or BJP government are no different than what Nehru espoused in internal records at that time about the influence of the communists from the Myanmari side entering India or from the Bangladeshi side entering the northeast of India. And you'll find similar reverberations about what BJP wants to do or has promised to do in what would be central Indian Adivasi tribal belts. Again, I would suggest to students and others, researchers who want to look at what's happening in Chhattisgarh and in and around the tribal belts there. It's very instructive to read of what happened in India's northeast post independence, of how the colonization and the use of armed forces to subdue aspirations of people, right or wrong, and the suspension of constitutional values in pursuance of that securitization of assets and land, how it was pursued in the Northeast, I would suggest to you, is only being replicated 50 years hence in the middle parts of India. Each and every episode that you think of heavy militarization, from use of big firepower, of declarations, of making loud chest beating about killing your own citizens, has been practiced in the past with adequate records available today in India's Northeast. To me, somebody who reads and focuses a lot on India's Northeast, I find irony in the fact that neither our so called liberal left nor right has learned any lessons from what's happened in India's Northeast. And I worry that this direction that India's Northeast and the levels of alienation India's Northeast has seen from the mainland India is what we will end up with in near future in central Adivasi lands if we do not alter the way the Indian state relates with the average Adivasi and his or her resources over there. To me, it is not about whether left wing extremism ends tomorrow or not, whether the strands of that intellectually in the minds of some are cut off or not. It is about the relationship that the Indian state will have with the average citizen on ground. because the delivery of arms or the delivery of a certain durable disorder, as a professor once called in the Northeast, does not mean that the Indian state's relationship with the Indian citizen who lives there is going to get altered. Perhaps it is going to get more exploitative than it was, because there will be no other force, armed or otherwise, to negotiate. And again, I reiterate, unlike several other friends, I do not believe the armed interventions by citizen groups and leaders have provided greater democratic spaces for the citizens. It has been exploitative in its own nature, I would think, but it has made it a point that those stories have not gone completely quiet, or the stories have got silenced entirely. Our worries, and we see this if you again look at the histories of Mizoram, Nagaland, and Manipur, that even the telling of stories from these regions, unfortunately, comes with some bloodletting. It comes by sacrifices of people, because even bringing out stories of what is the real truth of these areas and the complex political economy that runs these spaces. Some stupendous work, again, I point to by my three colleagues who wrote on the death of one of our own colleagues who was killed in Chhattisgarh for reporting on just a bad road. And the reportage then looks at not the death of the colleague, but looks at the roads that went around the mines and how each of the road that was being built was to reach a new mine, and how the anxiety in the entire system, and whether it was the left wing extremists or the state itself, was that the roads must be built or not built in a certain way. It wasn't the development of the people, one side or not. Those roads are now coming up, and as Latika also talked, they all lead to mines. All people get bypassed. And again, if you read the histories of Arunachal, Manipur, Nagaland, you'll find this pattern repeating itself. Some of you might have heard of Salva Jadum, and now it has a new legalized version. The first forms of army encampments that take entire citizenry of a state and put them down under army camps, but call it development of the people, was undertaken in Mizoram in the first place and Nagaland next. Or sorry, vice versa. Nagaland first and then Mizoram. The history of Mizoram, where a large segment of the state population was quite literally displaced and brought to city centers that were created subsequently, led to large changes in both the society and economy and the social structures, which I think the Mizo society still finds very difficult to deal with, and has led to massive changes in just the nature of who the people are. I think, and to me, as somebody who observed this closely, the northeast of India, at least some parts of it, had a protection that was provided by constitution, and that ensured a certain degree of protection, but a lot of loss of lives to keep those constitutional provisions alive rather than just on paper. In India's central heartlands, I don't think those constitutional provisions exist in the first place. The laws, if you look, whether it's Forest Rights Act, PESA, Land Acquisition Act, they've been all built with holes in them in the first place. They've all been enacted with enough loopholes to be exploited. And therefore, I think when capital ramrods through these areas unfettered, you will see the consequences far more debilitating than you've seen in India's Northeast. You might not see as much violence as you've seen in India's Northeast, but the consequences would be far more debilitating. And I think, away from the debates of the left and the right, it's useful to keep a watch out for all of us. And I think we try as journalists. We Unfortunately, Indian journalism fails more often than it succeeds in what it does, largely for the lack of trying. Um, it's essential to keep a map on the productive end of Indian economies, the manufacturing, the licensing that happens at the other ends, to understand what will happen on the field and the lives of our people. Merely keeping a watch on what's happening on the ground is not enough. Capital flows in now in ways that it didn't, as Amit was saying 30, 40 years ago. It breaks boundaries in a fashion, as Lotika was saying, that didn't happen earlier, where the securitization of capital and the support of security apparatus to the capital is brazen, it is upfront, and it is without what perhaps earlier was considered at least shameful, if not illegal. The challenges, therefore, in the next 15 years is not that you will see blood on the lands that we visit, but you will see slow decay of life. And I think that is very difficult to process, to write on, to explain, because sheer violence is unfortunately very easy today in the visualized world to show. But the slow decay of life and rights of people is a complex issue. And I think for all of us who are in that space where we want to protect lives and enhance them in a certain way, to think of development in these areas that will happen post 2027, 28. The challenge is how do you even record what happens when it happens in a slow decaying process rather than instantaneous violence?
Thank
I'll
you.
pause here.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nitin. I'm looking at the time as well, so straight away going to Nihal. Over to you, Nihal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lotika ji, and thank you, my co-speakers, Mr. Amit and Nitin. They really raised the standard of this discussion to such a high level that I'm finding it difficult to match that capacity. But uh, of course, I'm a lawyer, and I think I need to put forth the perspective that comes out from some judgments or some legal instances that have taken place uh, between the two eras, I would say, as to how corporates have influenced the so-called development or the policies. I'm reminded of this case of Niamgiri Hills, very famous case where people were agitating against mining at Niamgiri in Orissa. And what had happened is the matter went to Supreme Court in first round, and Supreme Court said no, no, this mining can be allowed, and there were arguments about development, etc. Supreme Court said all right, we'll direct them to give 5% of the profit before taxes for the development. They shall build road, they shall give employment, permanent employment, all those things, and they approved it. And based on that, first level environmental clearance was given for 1 MTA, that is 1 million tons per annum or metric tons per annum. But it so happened, and see how the things were there at that point of time, that Ministry of Environment and Forest set up a committee to look into the issues, and this committee went to Niamgiris or that area and found out that something is lacking, and that is you have not consulted the tribals who are residing in that area. Whatever is happening between state of Orissa and the and these mining companies. And based on that report, MOEF decided to reject their environmental clearance. And it's very interesting what they said while rejecting it, and I would like to read it for the people here. Apart from what they said about tribals, one para they said about Dalits. One also cannot ignore the Dalits living in the area. While they may technically be ineligible to receive benefits under the FRA 2006, they are such an inextricable part of the society that exists that it would be impossible to disentitle them, as they have been present for over 5 decades. The committee has also said on page number 40 of the report that even if Dalits have no claim under FRA, the truth of their de facto dependence on Niamgiri forest for the past several decades can be ignored by the central and state government only at the cost of betrayal of the promise of inclusive growth and justice and dignity for all Indians. And the MOEF then says this observation rings true with MOEF and underscores the MOEF's attempt to ensure that any decision taken is not just true to the law in letter, but also in spirit. This is what MOEF did in 2010. Considering this matter, then when this matter again went to the Supreme Court said, look, We have not really looked into PESA. We have not really looked into the Forest Right Act. We have not really looked into the rights of this forest dweller communities. And the law requires that wherever it's a PESA area, it is the Gram Sabha which will have a significant role there. There would be the stakeholders, and for that purposes, to determine whether this Niyamgiri Hill has got a religious connotation, whether they have right over it, etc., and then your Forest Rights Act. It said, let all these claims be sent before Gram Sabha. Imagine Supreme Court saying that fate of a mining corporation, a mining giant, will depend on what Gram Sabha of tribals will decide. And it directed that to ensure that there is no influence from central government or state government or from any of the mining proponent, there will be a judicial officer sitting and signing the minutes of the meeting. This is what was done in 2013. One of the interesting factor we'll see in that is that Solicitor General of India was defending this action of rejection of environmental clearance, and he was citing all these reports and was opposed to this extension of this Niyamgiri Hills project, or this project of mining from 1 metric ton to 6 metric tons. That was in 2013. Fast track to 2024. We here near the Gadchiroli came across a situation where the mining started in 2006, and in that period, and now they decided that the 3 MTA is not so much. Needs to be extended to 10 MTA. Another miner who wanted it to be from 10 to 60 MTA. So you can imagine the extent to which it was going. And for that purposes, they wanted to clear nothing less than 900 hectares of forest. Approximately, it was said that they would be cutting off 1,23,000 trees. Someone landed in the High Court challenging all this. The environmental impact assessment meeting that was to happen in the village did not happen there, but it happened in Gadchiroli in the district administration's office. And there they gave away environmental clearances, everything. Matter landed in the High Court. There was no one to oppose this environmental clearance. There was no one to say that, this environmental degradation that's going to happen, or please take tribals into consultation. None of them took it. Now, third comes, so we've seen how it has changed from Orissa Mining Corporation to this recent Bombay High Court instance. Third comes is the recent judgment of Supreme Court of 18th November in Samarjit Chatterjee in Confederation of Real Estate Developers of India. Earlier on, Supreme Court said that if you do any activity without obtaining environmental clearance, first thing you do is that you demolish everything, you restore the environment, and then come seek for environmental clearance. This is very much what is called as environmental jurisprudence. If you have harmed it, first restore it, then you ask for clearances and go ahead. This judgment was there. Central government filed a review application. Of course, this other private entities filed it. That's their job. But central government filed it, and central government also said that we also would like this order to be recalled. We would like to give post facto clearances to these instances. Now here we have 3 cases, and there is a fourth one that is coming, that is happening, that is going on. It's in Melghat. It's largely falls in Amravati district of Maharashtra. There, to create inviolate atmosphere for tigers, tribals are being given a so-called voluntary package to relocate themselves from this area to some other place. Now, these some other places are where there is no forest. They've never seen, meaning they are placed in such places where there would be no amenities, nothing, and importantly, no forest. That is being done to protect tigers. Here in Gadchiroli, 900 hectares of land would be erased, and there is no concern for tigers. So basically, what is happening is all over tribals wherever are residing, wherever your lands are rich with mines and minerals, from there, people who can be an obstacle in the development are being removed either at the stroke of gun or at the stroke of law. So uh, that's precisely I wanted to say. If there is anything else you would like to ask me, I'd be open to questions.
Thank you so much, Nihal, as well. Thanks to all of you for all the insights and adding to, like I said, what we have covered in the last 6 sessions. There was I'm just wondering whether what you were saying also, Amit and Nitin, if we just zoom back into, say, the mining corporations and more specifically, maybe even in the Northeast, as you were saying, Nitin, maybe to even think of the Northeast and the state, um, maybe more specifically at the moment, because the infrastructure, the taking over, would you say that taking over the infrastructure by corporates, the is yeah, and this is for you, Amit, though, both of you, and Nihal, this is for all of you, um, is is creating something different again now than in the past, say, when at least a lot of the infrastructure was in the hands still of what we call the state, though after what you said, Amit, about the state, how do we define the state? Whether it is just like, yeah, a government of the people, by the people, for the people, or there is, it's more than that also comes in. If you would just like to, yeah, share some comments on that. Uh, Amit, would you like to come in first? Yeah, then.
Sure. Okay. Uh, that's a very interesting way to. Okay. So, and this sort of fits into what Nitin and Nihal were saying. Um, when we think of infrastructure development, because that this word is often used and abused, right? Development. And it is precisely what are you sort of connecting, right? Are you connecting places for, I mean, are you connecting resources to cores, to manufacturing cores, or are you connecting people, right? And secondly, what kind of people are you connecting, right? So a lot of infrastructure development, some of it does revolve around people, but a certain subsection of people, right? I mean, you don't even have to go to Adivasi areas for that. If I step out of my house, everything revolves around people who can own cars, right? Uh, Even urban development. Okay, so leave alone the rural development, which is sort of a more egregious sort of example of that, where it's sort of brazen, these sort of relationships. So yeah, so when we even think about infrastructure or development, and when we imagine these regions, right? So the Northeast was mentioned by Nitin, right? And now there's a lot of sort of alarm being raised over the fact that, oh, China has built roads in Tibet and, we don't have anything over there, right? Again, the impulse is from a very narrow conception of security and uh, national interest, right? Because um, it is still centered around that the thing that you're protecting is the state, not the people necessarily, right? Or a certain subsection of people, right, who can claim some sort of a representation within the state, right? And sort of that is sort of central to this you know, uh, dilemma. So I think Nihal mentioned that case of 900 hectares of land, forest land being demolished, right? Sorry, not demolished, sorry, sort of being deforested to in Gadchiroli, right? And sort of the most vulnerable population being sort of removed, so that that link between the core and the periphery sort of, it is sort of facilitated, right? Now, the second thing that I want to also mention over here is that the way I started it, I imagined the core and periphery to sort of align with sort of national boundaries, right? But sort of what is happening right now is also more complicated, right? So it's not like, you can imagine the United States as a core and India as a semi-periphery, and I don't know, Laos, or I don't know, some other country as a periphery, but it is more sort of disambiguated right now, right? Um, Something like, I don't know, Cuff Parade in Mumbai is as much as a core as a Manhattan, right? And the relationships between that and um, the forests of central India is as egregious or sort of are as sort of lopsided as what we would imagine as these macro cores and macro peripheries, right? So we also have to reimagine uh, these relationships and who gets to set the terms of what we call development, what we call infrastructure, right? So who's being put in that central position? Is it the person? Is it the local community who has the ownership, right? That's the other thing. A lot of times, this whole discourse also revolves around compensation, around all of these things, but it's not over share of resources, right? Share of the means of production, all of these things, right? So I think those are sort of at least the way I imagine. But I don't have a very good answer right now to your question.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. That always linking it to the international also always helps us as well think of it. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. Nitin, would you like to?
Sure. To my mind, across the entire world, at one of the key questions has been at different stages of development, what is the role of the state, right? What does it deliver? What all should it deliver? And I think, with rare exceptions, one would think that, at least on paper, theoretically, is considered that delivery of health, education, and basic infrastructure continues to be the role of the state. And that enables individual capacity to grow economically. Um, so, if one was to look at the Adivasi India or rest of India, I think, to me, the challenge is that some of these areas the state had vacated even before liberalization came. Education and health, either it did not occupy that space or it vacated it thereafter. And that's one dereliction of duty, I think, which is fundamental to the Indian state in perpetuity. Um, Two is the question of, once you decided that there is, as Amit was saying, there's a grand change where post 1991, the share of economy in the private sector is much growing far faster and becomes immensely more in the hand of the private sector than the state actor. But at the same time, you had another phenomena going on where the state, um, driven by imaginations of what is happening in Europe and elsewhere, says that the state itself should shrink. And the nature of regulation over this growing capital should be limited. And in that, you have the worst of two worlds. You do not have the inefficiencies of the state, which might work to some degree in moderated spaces, but you also have lost the entire ability to regulate how this capital now moves through the veins of the country. Therefore, you see regulators which are either compromised today of all kinds, whether it is the Forest Conservation Act, whether it's the private licensing of mines, whether it's the telecom sector, whatever, wherever you look, our ability, even if there was an imagined ability for the state to regulate capital, we never built that capacity. So today you have unregulated capital, which is only regulated by the way it has a relationship with electoral politics. And that is the only regulator left. And by default, that is a corruption. I mean, by default, it is supposed to be against the interest of the average citizen. I don't think there's history where, if the state entities did mining in Adivasi belts in Jharkhand, etc., earlier, that they were any better, or there was any moderation in the kind of exploitation they showed. There is also enough work to show that even when we thought, as you, Latika, was saying, that these were state agencies, they were subcontracting out to what Amit said was local domestic capital in the first place. And the exploitation may have been of that nature and more distributed, perhaps less, more difficult to capture.
that's inverted now. You do have all kinds of capital that is doing this. You also have lesser regulatory frameworks to manage what is much wider capital inflows into infrastructure and projects of all kind. One example one can give is just look at the number of factories and manufacturing units that exist today across India compared to the number of inspectors you have in the state pollution control board to monitor. I think the ratio is 1:1 million, right? That's the ratio you're looking at. And this can be seen across the board. I think the challenge is, how do you imagine, because I can't imagine India now moving back from this to another kind of state. We've always been a certain kind of capital state. How do you create a regulatory framework which is accountable less to the hierarchy above it and more to the average citizen? And I think we've just taken a regressive step in that space, where we've just amended the Right to Information Act through the DPDP Act, which takes away the individual rights of the citizen to ask questions of the state. And it's a bad sign, but I think that's where we're moving.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for that last bit also. I think, again, it does remind that in the context of a particular context, these broader questions, and even going up to, we are not just needing to look at mining laws or conservation laws around and forest laws and all around Adivasi areas, but we have to take a much broader consideration of the whole where the India is going. So in that, Nihal, would you like to come in now? There's also a question for you separately, so maybe I'll add it to it because it kind of fits in this also. Is there any scope for Gram Sabhas to reclaim their power to resist corporate land grab? Do you see any avenues of the law, constitution to oppose state corporate nexus? But I mean, yeah, we've just talked about even the right to information being cut down. So would you like to share some
Can you
comments?
repeat your question again? Can Gram Sabhas reclaim their land?
I mean, is it to reclaim their power to resist corporate land grab.
See, in these areas, there is very popular slogan that is said, "Na Lok Sabha, na Vidhan Sabha, sabse badi Gram Sabha." If we look at the PESA Act and if we look at the FRA Act, and if we combine the two, we'll see that there cannot be any acquisition without the consent, free informed consent of Gram Sabhas. The problem is, in fact, I was arguing a matter on behalf of Gram Sabha in the court, and the government lawyer turned around and said he's arguing as if he's a state. And I said, of course I'm a state. Of course I'm a body created in a statute, and I have statutory powers. And that makes me a state, and I can assert as to what I do with my forest produce. But see, the one is about perception. There's no really, if you tell these people that Gram Sabha is so powerful that it can overturn what Lok Sabha has done, no one is going to buy it in the common parlance. When it comes to courts or through legal mechanism, the problem that I have come across is that this dearth of documentation. People are still not aware how to use their powers, how to regulate Gram Sabha, and how to create this documentation so that they can go upfront against these acquisitions or against these corporate houses. And therefore, then you're in very weak position when you come to courts and say that I am a Gram Sabha and I would like to do this or I would like to do that. Another matter I'm handling, where entire village has migrated from that area, and only 4 families are left, and 4 families are fighting back. They're saying we will not leave our land. But there again, now what is left is whatever number of people are there. That is the Gram Sabha now, and they're fighting back. So let's hope that some positive judgment comes in that. But theoretically speaking, yes, Gram Sabhas can reclaim, Gram Sabhas can resist, and Gram Sabhas can even throw them out if they want to, legally and theoretically speaking.
Thank you so much. So there's a question, firstly for Amit and Nitin, how can the impact of of the capital and by extension government policies be compared in the Northeast and the situation of the Adivasis today, that given one happened pre and this happened pre and post liberalization. Further, would you say that the methods of resistance pre and post liberalization have changed? And what does this say about the entire situation? Another question, would you say that is it better that certain incumbent tendencies became more visible when BJP came into power? Because this will lead to quicker revolution. A lot of questions there, but I'm just going to read this other one which came to me separately. It says, maybe this is tangential. I work in the conservation sector, and it's impossible not to see that the corporate state takeover not only extends to extraction and control, but in the environment development sector, funding is all being routed through the corporates and CSR, corporate social responsibility, another arm of the empire to speak. Would speakers agree? What is your experience of the same? It adds to the argument that a deliberate changing of what is nature, forest, what needs protecting, who are we protecting for, is now in its definition moving away from the interests of dependent communities and marginalized people. The instruments of protection disguise corporate land grab.
Nitin, do you want to go first?
Draw if you wish that, Amit.
Yeah, because
Okay,
the question one, the Northeast versus, I don't think
certainly.
I'm the right person for that. So yeah.
Certainly. So, I think one critical fact that distinguishes our history of exploitation and the nature of capital in the Northeast from Central India is that the trade flows ideally from the Northeast of India were easier to the Southeast Asian, and those routes were never open. And that restricted what capital wanted or could get out of it. What it could get, say, was oil, and that Indian state has exploited where it finds and increasingly wants to do more of. There is other precious commodities that are easier sent down towards the Southeast Asia and those markets because of Myanmar's history, etc., and India's relationships with Myanmar and Myanmar's own history have not been available, and that limited the amount of capital going into that side. Again, Myanmar, and because of Yunnan, the export and import that illicitly happened between Myanmar and Manipur largely was restricted to guns, drugs, and jade, or precious metals. So the nature of that is actually much more exploitative and much less written about. One, because it's an area which is alienated from researchers from mainland India. Two, it's an area which is difficult to actually research upon simply because of the nature of criminality and violence involved in it. This great work done by security writers, unfortunately, on what's happened with guns and arms trade and drugs trade in that area. Very little understood by people this side. Therefore, there's a qualitative difference. But I think there's a similarity in where we are going based on what is possible. Similarity in what, when the state decides for either the purpose of what Amit said, security of nation state or the security of capital, what it does, I think the consequences are very similar, which is why I was saying it's really worthwhile for all of us who study lives of Adivasi and understand there, or we come from there, to understand what's happened in parts like Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram over there. On this, I hope I've answered the first question. On the second part, I'll quickly leave with what I hope is a provocative answer. I think one of the large problems in India, because the gentleman or lady who asked this question came, she said she comes from conservation. That conservation itself has been a tool of exploitation in India for very long. That it has played willingly, unwillingly, or I would say willingly or sometimes subconsciously, an active role in decimation of tribal rights and lands. There are only two circumstances under which, and I'll leave this as an example, under which tribal rights are subjugated in India. One is to protect the wildlife, and two is to protect the mineral wealth of the state. There are two terms when the average right of a tribal is less than that of any other citizen in the country. They are treated as second grade citizens. It's only in India that in the name of conservation in 21st century you can find an Adivasi's village being chained and them being told that they cannot move out of the house or the village early in the morning or late in the evenings because the tiger has to be protected. I think an ability was an attempt was made in the UPA era to correct this, a historical justice, as the law says in the Forest Rights Act. But in the writing of the law, and Nihalsing Bhai was talking about it, in the writing of the law and the contestation between the Wildlife Protection Act, the Forest Rights Act, the whole purpose of that law was defeated in its inception itself. And we could have, I think, with Nihal Bhai, a whole discussion on how the Vedanta orders came about, that the government that promoted a law then tried to pull holes into it to make sure it doesn't succeed to its greatest levels. And every time subsequently, every government tried to do the same. I brought out records during the UPA era where the Manmohan Singh government had executive orders written from the Prime Minister's office of how the Forest Rights Act must be diluted and amended. And several attempts were made towards that, even by the time the BJP government came into play. I think and there's again enough work done across the world to understand philanthropy, conservation as something very different than how benignly it's sold. And it's not the fault of the young people who work in conservation. It is the large frameworks in which conservation has been brought to these spaces, philanthropy has been brought to these spaces. They are exploitation of either aesthetics or rights of the people. We are all, in some ways, I think many of us are dependent on philanthropy and other means to exist. But the fact is, it's easier to just call it the evil empire. It is harder to imagine how do you exist, how do you create safety nets for citizens when all these elements exist. Conservation is not going away, philanthropy is only going to increase. How do you create a regulatory regime that makes sure these strands of our society do not subjugate some of our citizens to being second grade? And I think that's the challenge that we must face rather than use bland statements saying this is the global, dirty, black, dark empire coming to eat us away. I'll
No,
pause here.
yeah, thank you. No, yes, we also, yes, need to talk in terms of what is the alternative, and learn from the resistance on the ground also. I think, yeah, the people who have resisted and lived in different ways already, and what can we learn from those and those knowledges. So thank you for that. Nihal, would you like to add and your closing comment, and then it's past 1.5 hours, so we'll close after that.
No, I don't have much to add, but in these struggles, when we have to really look for some hope or some, as we say, dubte ko tinke ka sahara, we have to take help of these laws in whatever ways they are. In fact, one of the argument as to why FRA Act was introduced is that because Naxals were occupying about 140, had influence in about 140 districts, and to push them back, let's give something to tribals. And how it has not worked, we know how this law till date has not worked. We have seen Supreme Court saying that all those tribals whose claims have been rejected should be thrown out. And we've seen how we have to fight for basic things, even to sell tendupatta. But in the times that we are in right now, we have what we have, and we'll have to fight with that.
Can I
Yeah, Amit,
add
yes,
something
thank
to
you.
that? Sorry, just before I know it's over time, but just to address that question of something that it's better for these incumbent tendencies to become visible and will this lead to a quick revolution? So, I mean, this is sort of a old sort of historical materialist Marxist argument. Okay, if you let the contradiction of capitalism play out, sooner or later, inqilab aa jayega and all of that. There's that hypothesis. But, again, to sort of cite Gramsci for that, quicker revolution, quote unquote, whatever that means, to occur, you need a sort of a cultural counter hegemony. You need people to have alternate ideas, right? You need society to have an alternate idea to bank upon to sort of counter what is hegemonic idea right now. And I'm, as of now, very pessimistic whether that idea has, or those ideas, or those set of ideas exist in a coherent fashion in some sort of a counter-cultural ideology, right? So, for example, and that's a sort of a large, long-term project that we should work on, right? Like the whole sort of re-engineering mass common sense of the people, right? So, and right now I'm very pessimistic. I don't think that these contradictions, these incumbent tendencies, as has been referred to, will automatically lead to some kind of a social change in itself, right? Just because those contradictions exist, they can exist for a long time, right? Because I remember during COVID, there were op-eds coming out that, oh, is this the end of capitalism? And, but it doesn't happen like that. You need first to generate an alternate sort of, specifically when the hegemony is so strong. So one is that, right? So now, and the second thing about conservation, I also think that conservation is fundamentally a very defensive category, right? In the sense, you conserve, matlab, I mean, if you put it in Hindi, कि बचा लो जो कुछ बचा हुआ है, I mean, most of it is destroyed, but whatever that thing is left, okay, you just conserve that, right? And in that sense, makes it puts both nature and people who are in these spaces into some kind of leftovers that have to be conserved, right? And I think that is my fundamental problem with it, right? That it doesn't center these spaces or these people who inhabit these spaces. So yeah, so I agree with the critique, and also what Nitin was saying. But yeah, I just think that is my fundamental problem with philanthropy as a way to sort of get out of these problems or something. I think it will have to be, as Nihal Singh Bhai, he shared with that wonderful anecdote about the Gram Sabha. It has to come from the people. I don't think we can rely on NGOs or corporates to sort of, or CSR to sort of solve these problems for us. So yeah.
Thank you very much. So thank you all for sharing your insights, and thank you everyone who has still stayed with us till now. We'll bring this to an end now, thinking also of what Nitin, you said about the decay of life starting. In some ways that feeds into what Amit, you said about maybe some pessimism also, but then at the same time, it is dependent on the people, like you said. We have to keep resisting, basically. And of course, some of us who are in more privileged spaces, we cannot afford to be pessimistic. I think we have to keep on pushing in whatever way we can, because those who are at the front lines of all this, the repression as well as the destruction, and are still being, yes, have to face this idea of decay of life also from the very cultural, what you were talking about, Amit. There needs to be a sort of cultural change, because there's a cultural genocide also happening. I mean, that the forces are working even in that area. As we know, the very same corporates are running boarding schools. We know Adani Group, yeah, it funds the what's it called, the Kalinga school, and things like that. So we do plan to discuss all that in forthcoming the few sessions that are left of this series, and we hope that we can together make a body of not just a work, but also keep amplifying the voices from the ground who are resisting, who are continuing to resist despite all this that we're seeing, and the world over, this tendency of capital and what it's doing is from Gaza in Palestine to that, shrinking that space, and then imagining that that can be used in that leftover way, as you said. So thank you so much, and we'll be in touch again with information on the next one very soon in the new year. Thank you again. Thank you.
I
Thank
thank
you.
you everyone for being here.